Hi, this is János, and this is my little channel called Real World Audio. And this is a video for those who have subwoofers. And as you know, you have your favorite subwoofer, you have grown to love it, and then after maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15, it suddenly dies. And then you try to take it to someone to fix it, to repair it, and they will tell to you in most cases that it's completely toast. You can't do anything about it. It's done. You have to buy a new one, or just you can keep your old subwoofer, but you have to get a new plate amp for it, because the plate amp is toast. And if you are unlucky, as often, then it also blew your driver as well. So in that case, well, actually it's easier and about the same price to get a new sub altogether. But what about those of you who already have your subs? Maybe you had it for 5 years, 6 years, and you really love it, and you know that it would be really hard to replace, and what can you do to make sure that your sub will last you another 10 years or so? So here we go. The most frequent cause of failure why subs die is because their main power supply capacitors, these big ones, you can identify them on your plate amp by looking for the biggest capacitors close to the rectifier. So here you can see, identify the rectifiers here, these 4 really big diodes next to each other. So when you see 4 humongous diodes next to each other, that's your main rectifier bridge, and the big capacitors next to them are your main filter capacitors. So these ones get tremendous beating because they get all ripple coming from the rectified choppy DC. So that means that these are stressed out a lot, and when they're stressed out, you see they start bulging. So their top is not flat anymore, but there's a dome. It's a dome shaped, and when you put your finger over it, you can feel that it's not flat, but it's bulging. There's a little hill on top, and that's an indication that this capacitor is past its useful lifetime. And often when you find them in this state, you still might have a functioning plate amp, your unit can be still working, but you are asking for really big trouble. So one day when you flip it on, then the cap cannot hold the charge anymore and it blows. And when these big filter capacitors blow, then they let that instability that comes with the blow will take out a bunch of your transistors that are supplied by the voltage from these big guys. And when those transistors here on the board, those tiny fellows, they die, that's when your amp cannot be repaired anymore, because a lot of these after like 5-10 years of the manufacture of your plate amplifier, they cannot even be purchased anymore, and there's no substitutes, and that's why maybe only this little bugger is the one that's fried, but because you cannot source it anymore, you have to wave goodbye to the board. Also, if even there you could source something, troubleshooting and finding it, well, it will cost that technician to troubleshoot it for you quite a bit of hours to find out what was the part that was fried, and it can cost several $100s just to find the offending piece, and then he can tell you that, well, that part cannot be purchased anymore. So there you are with a bill to pay and still a new sub to purchase. So what can you do to prevent this situation? That you can do this. Check out visually if you have these big capacitors bulging, and if they are bulging, that's a sign that you must stop using that sub anymore, or if it's a power amplifier, same thing, or DAC or anything, that applies to them, but for subs it applies tremendously because they are getting a tremendous beating because of the high power output that's demanded from them. So basically, when you find this scenario, just get new capacitors and replace the old ones. So here they are in this case. These are ELNAs. These are very nice high quality capacitors, and it took me quite a while, a year, to find replacement, and here they are, and I'm going to change them, and then this amplifier can serve another 10 years for my good friend Jakar. So anyway, that's this video about, that when you have a sub that you love and you are getting worried because the sub is clocking quite a few years now, then you can do the visual check. If it doesn't check out, get a new pair of capacitors and substitute. How you can do that? Well, if you haven't done this, don't do it before. I mean, don't do it now. You can maybe injure or damage or hurt or kill yourself if you don't know what you are doing. But if you know what you are doing, then just disconnect the plate amp. First, of course, take it out of the sub. Then disconnect, in this case, the main board from this next board next to it. And remove the screws, I already removed them, that hold the board onto the back, which in this case is a giant heatsink. And then from the downside, here's one capacitor and there's the other. Just desolder it here, remove the old ones, put in the new ones. Of course, remember, this is the negative polarity. You must install with correct polarity. Do it for both capacitors, solder them in, put whole thing back, screw it back, connect the connectors back, put it back in the amp, and it's good to serve you another 10 years. So I hope this was helpful for all of those who have subwoofers. And as I said, if you don't know what to do, you can still do a visual check. If you see this popping, then get a technician, anyone like a TV repairman or radio repairman will be able to change the capacitors for you. Of course, look at these capacitors as well, there's more of them. If you see any of the backs bulging here, replace them. But it will be unlikely that you will need to replace anything than the big ones, because these get tremendous ripple, they die early, and these ones are not getting a big ripple. They are just to store a stable charge, so they are not getting the heck being beaten out of them, so they can serve much longer than these ones. So please like, subscribe. If you haven't, you can pour me a cup of coffee, and have an awesome day. Enjoy your subs. Bye bye.